Hi, I'm Whitney Morgan, Hashimoto's coach, functional medicine practitioner, and co-founder of the Functional Health Alliance. Not everyone can afford the cost of comprehensive food sensitivity testing, but let's face it, food sensitivities are the most common cause of leaky gut, and leaky gut is the gateway to autoimmune disease. So how do you figure out what your food triggers are without testing? Well, the best way is to commit to an elimination diet. In today's video, I'll review the elimination diets that I use in my practice, how long it might take before you experience the benefits of an elimination diet, and how to go about reintroducing foods. And I'll wrap it up with a few pro tips. But before we jump into it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the little bell next to it so you'll get notified every time I post a new video. First, it's important to note that there isn't just one elimination diet. And if you Google around enough, you're going to find there's several versions of what are called elimination diets, and it can be very confusing to choose the right one for you. When dealing with Hashimoto's or any autoimmune issue, I recommend one of three options for an elimination diet. The first option is simple. Just go paleo. The second option is similar, but more restrictive, and that's the autoimmune paleo protocol. Now, I'm not going to go into detail on both of these options because there's a lot of information on them out there, but I will drop a few of my favorite resources about paleo and autoimmune paleo in the video notes. The third option is the least restrictive, in my opinion, and it's the elimination diet recommended by the Institute for Functional Medicine. So get your pen and paper ready because I'm going to go through the list of all the foods that you should eliminate in this third option. Here we go. Wheat and other gluten-containing grains, corn, dairy, peanuts, beef, pork, shellfish, and processed meats, eggs, chocolate, coffee and caffeinated teas, soda and other soft drinks, and of course, alcohol. Regardless of which elimination diet you choose, it usually takes a minimum of 3 weeks before you're going to feel any benefits or reduction in your symptoms. And for those who struggle with chronic skin issues like eczema, psoriasis, or acne, it can take a minimum of 6 weeks before you make any progress. I want to make one important distinction here. The general rule of thumb is that elimination diets are temporary therapeutic interventions. They're not meant for long-term adherence. However, the paleo diet is an exception to this rule. It is both an elimination diet and a legitimate nutritional template for the long haul. Have you ever tried an elimination diet? If you have, go ahead and share your experience in the comments below. Okay, so what happens after you've been on that elimination diet for 3 to 6 weeks? You've gotten great results, and now it's time to start reintroducing foods. How do you go about doing that? On day 1 of your reintroduction phase, choose whatever food you want. Maybe it's what you've been craving most, or perhaps it was a food that you used to eat quite often. It doesn't matter which food you choose. It's totally up to you. You'll want to eat a generous amount of that food on day 1, and that's usually 2 to 3 average-sized portions. Now, continue to eat according to the elimination diet. The only change is introducing that first food. Day 2 looks exactly like day 1. Continue to eat that first reintroduction food on day 2. And during days 1 and 2, make sure to record any adverse symptoms that you might experience. If you have no adverse reactions during this 2-day period, go ahead and keep eating that reintroduction food. Now you can pick your second food to reintroduce on day 3. Watch for any symptoms to that second food on days 3 and 4. If you don't have any, go ahead and pick your third reintroduction food, and so on. Now, if during this process, if there's any reintroduction foods that produce adverse symptoms, discontinue eating those foods immediately and wait for all adverse symptoms to clear until you move on to the next reintroduction food on your list. Before I go, I want to leave you with a few pro tips. Tip number 1, don't restrict calories when following an elimination diet. Tip number 2, stay hydrated. Make sure to drink about 50% of your total body weight in pure ounces of water every day. Tip number 3, when reintroducing foods, choose simple foods rather than complex foods with multiple ingredients. For example, don't challenge yourself with a mocha drink that contains both chocolate and coffee, because if you have any adverse symptoms, you're not going to know what caused it. Could be the chocolate, could be the coffee. Pro tip number 4, if a food causes symptoms on reintroduction, avoid that food for 3 to 6 months before attempting to reintroduce it again. All right, thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, let me know. Like it, subscribe to my channel, or share the video with someone with autoimmune issues or with Hashimoto's. And as always, if you have questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments. I do my best to answer each one. Take care. See you next time.